Hi, my name is Kim and this is Kitty, and I'm an introvert who travels the world whilst being on a tight budget, and today we're going to be talking about length of trips. So not to be confused with long haul versus short haul, this is going to be about the amount of time you go travelling for. So whether you're going to be going away for a weekend trip or a long stint of travel, which one will be best for you, looking at the pros and cons of it all. I've done both. I've done short weekend breaks away and I've done travel for a long amount of time. Now, as a sort of older person, I guess, I tend to do more sort of short breaks away, but when I was younger I definitely did do longer stints of travel. The longest time I've been away for was when I was on my gap year when I was 19, and I went to Canada, America and Mexico for 5 months. I was kind of in a unique situation back then though. I have family who live in Canada, so I went and stayed with them for most of the time, and we travelled to America and to Mexico from Canada, but I was away from Wales for 5 months. I've also done sort of shorter trips away. You may have seen my videos on Madrid and Venice. I've also went back when I was a teenager again. I did went on a ship to Norway. So they're all sort of different ways that these sort of longer or shorter trips can take place. They don't have to be sort of your standard, you get on a plane, you fly away. They can come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, I guess. But what trips are best, shorter ones or longer ones? It honestly depends on your situation and what you want to get from the trip. Are you looking for just a sort of a quick holiday away, just to sort of refresh your mind? Are you looking to completely relax, or are you looking to completely change your life? We'll have a look and see which one's best, so let's just get into it. Weekend breaks. The good thing about weekend breaks is if you work a sort of more standard job, you only have to take off 2 holiday days to have a weekend breakaway. So you can have 4 days off with just 2 holiday days, which is amazing. The good thing about weekend breaks as well is that you don't necessarily have to take them during the weekend. For me and my work schedule, it actually sometimes works out easier to take short little breaks away during the week. Like Wednesday to Saturday, that's when I took my break to Madrid. It doesn't necessarily, they don't have to be weekend breaks away. They don't even have to be away on a plane. You could have a weekend break in a caravan park just down the road from you. The point is you're going away for like 2-3 nights and just sort of absorbing where you are, basically. Because you're only going for 2-3 nights, you get to sort of see a place quickly, and you can kind of judge whether you enjoy the place enough to want to put more time into it or more money in the future. I went to Madrid last year, and the 2 nights that I spent in Madrid were enough for me to see the city. And I don't feel as if I need to go back to the city to see any more of it. Obviously it'd be lovely to see out of the city, because one of the downsides of if you are going on a weekend break, the odds of you being able to see much beyond a sort of a localised area, you're not going to have much time. But it gives you an idea of a place, whether you want to invest more time into it. For another example, I guess, from my own experience, is when we went to Venice. I went there, I fell in love, it is an amazing place, and I would go back over and over and over again. It is such an amazing place. If I hadn't had taken those 2 nights to go have a look to see if I enjoyed it or not, I may not have been able to go at all. I travel a lot on a budget, and the budget that I travel on sometimes doesn't stretch to much more than 2 or 3 nights. But it gave me the opportunity to see Venice, to see that I love it, and know that in the future I'd like to invest more of my time and money into Venice, whereas I'm quite happy not going back to Madrid again. But if you want to pay for me to go back to Madrid, I won't. It's a really nice city, don't get me wrong. Like, I would recommend going to visit it. It's just, for me, I'm done with it. It's fine. Plus, if you like going to loads of new places, potentially going on short weekend trips away means that rather than going on one big long holiday for 2 weeks, you can go on 4 shorter holidays and go see 4 new places rather than just one place for 2 weeks. It all depends on what you want out of travel. The downside of weekend breaks though is that they're not very good for the environment, because you're using air travel just to sort of nip somewhere, nip back, and a lot of the time these flights are quite short, which are not as good for the environment as well. You have to remember the environmental impact of your flights if you are just like going out, coming back. Another thing as well you need to consider is the fact that there will be sort of temporary overpopulation of a destination from tourism, which can also hamper the environment. A good example of this, I know I've spoken about Venice before, but Venice suffers a lot with sort of over tourism, and it sort of hampers the environmental parts of Venice then, because they have cruise ships coming in and then they have people like me coming in for a couple of days, and it's a lot for Venice to be able to handle. And we kind of seen through people that are visiting Venice so much that they are getting, the environmental parts of Venice are getting better, like the canals are getting clearer, and it just shows you how much of an impact that tourism can have on a place when tourists don't go there. Not anymore, but at the moment, you know. Another down part is if you go to a place and you absolutely adore it and then you end up having to leave and you wish you could stay there longer. But I guess the good thing about that is in the future you can go back. It's just you might have to do more saving to be there for longer next time. Standard 1 to 2 week holiday. So the good thing about a more sort of standard holiday, 1 or 2 week trip away, is that you can explore more of the location, more of the destination. For example, when I go to Greece, I tend to go for 2 weeks because I don't just stay in the town of Rhodes. We explore other places too. It gives you time to go explore more places. Like we nip over to Turkey, we go to some of the other Greek islands. It gives you the time to explore more than just the area you're visiting. I was going to go to Madrid, so talking about Madrid again, I wouldn't just stay in Madrid for 2 weeks. There are places that you can travel out of Madrid to go visit, like Toledo's an hour by train and Barcelona's 3 hours by train. These are places that if you're staying at a hotel for a longer amount of time, you have the opportunity to go out and explore further than just the city you're visiting. The great thing about the sort of 2 week holiday is it gives you the time to explore, but you also have time to sit down and relax and just sort of rejuvenate, I guess. You get time to do it all pretty much. The downside of going on these 2 week holidays is if you're not savvy with your money, you can end up sort of blowing the budget in the first week and then not having enough money to do anything in the second week. So you have to be a little bit more aware of what you're doing and how you're spending. And another thing would be getting bored, so doing everything in the first week and then having nothing left to do in the second week. So you just have to be aware of your budget and what you're doing and making sure that you kind of spread everything out, because you can kind of get into sort of a travel fatigue almost, where you end up going on excursions every day for like the first week and then you're just knackered for the second week, just so tired. If you are in a place like that or a situation like that, spread out your excursions. So go on one, give yourself 2 days off, go on another one, 2 days off, and you can kind of do the same thing with spending money then. Maybe you sort of go, right, every Monday and Wednesday I'm gonna like go for it, and then I'm gonna be like a little bit more savvy with my money for the other few days, you know, just so you know that you're not gonna get to the last couple of days and not be able to afford to do anything, or if you're not in a sort of an all-inclusive kind of situation, not be able to afford food. You just gotta sort of bear that in mind. It's better to be a little bit tight at the start of the holiday and then just go mental at the end. But just things to bear in mind if you are going to go on like 1 or 2 week holidays. Another downside, I guess, if you do end up going on a 1 week holiday, is if you go to a place and you absolutely love it and you make friends, and it's the same with any sort of travel, I guess. It's always sad when you gotta leave, and especially if you've absolutely fallen in love with the place and you feel like you've got like connections and friendships there. it's always like even worse to have to leave a place. So it's something to bear in mind, I guess. It may be heartbreaking to leave. Extended travel. So I've been on extended travel trips as well. I've been to Canada, like I said, for 5 months. I've been to Canada for 3.5 months as well. The great thing about going on longer trips is that it gives you a proper feel of what a place is like. You get to live like the locals. You feel like you get to know the culture. You're basically sort of in it with them, living like a normal person almost. If you go on a working holiday, even more so, you go to work with the locals, you go shopping at the supermarkets. It's all as if you're sort of like living like people would in that area, which can be amazing. Going on extended travel trips as well gives you the opportunity to be flexible with where you go. So you may end up going to a place for a little bit, and because you know that you're not in any sort of rush to get back to work or to go back home or anything like that, you can kind of meet people, and maybe the person that you met is like, oh, I'm heading down there, do you want to come? And you can be like, do you know what, I've got nothing tying me here, so yeah, why not? Or you can kind of stay in a few places for a couple of weeks each and kind of move around. There's a lot more freedom when it comes to travelling for a long amount of time, because as long as you're not on a working holiday, you don't have those ties that are in place, and you can kind of go with the flow, which is nice. It's good. The downsides of if you are going on an extended trip though is the income and budget part of it. So you may be in a situation like I was when I went to Canada for 5 months, where my job left it open for me to come back to, which was amazing, brilliant. But not every employer is going to be like that, so you've got to take into account whether you're happy to make the risk of going somewhere and coming back again without a job. Other things that you can do to kind of alleviate that stress, I guess, is you can work from your computer, or you can try and make income passage streams so you don't have to bear that in mind when you're traveling. You know that there's going to be something in the background making money for you, or you know that you need to find some internet and sort of log on and do your work. So finding an employer that sort of will allow you to travel whilst working is another way that you could still have income coming in but also get to travel. Or another way is getting a working visa. So like I was discussing earlier on, you kind of live more like a local then. But if you don't fancy working whilst you're travelling, that's also something you can do. That's what I tended to do. You've just got to make sure you've got enough savings in place then, so you don't want to run out of money halfway through like a 6-month trip. You've got to be really tight with your budget. You've got to properly research where you're going to make sure that you've got enough money that'll last you all the time that you're away, and take emergency money as well, because you never know if you're going to be like part of the way through a really long trip and something happens and you need to like get out of a place quickly. You need to have enough money to be able to buy like airfare or some kind of travel to leave. For whatever reason, you don't know what may come up. For example, some people during this coronavirus going on have had to cut their travel short, and they've luckily budgeted money to have sort of an emergency reserve to be able to come back home again. Getting travel sick is also something that may happen. Even if you're traveling with friends or your partner, it may not be the people that you miss, but your home or the culture that you're in. If you end up in a place that you're just not enjoying, you don't like the culture, or you don't kind of mesh well with it, then that's going to make you more homesick. You've got to sort of bear that in mind, that you might get homesick and you might feel sad because you're not at home. There's no shame in coming back home early if you're just not enjoying travelling long term. There's no shame in it at all. Do what's best for you. Go for as long as you feel that you're comfortable going for, and just come back home if you're not feeling it. So which kind of holiday style do you think's best for you? For me at the moment, I think that the weekend breaks to the 2-week breaks are best for my personal situation, because I need to earn an income to pay for all of this, my house, going on long trips isn't viable at the moment, but there are ways in the future that potentially longer trips may be more viable with you know, figuring out new ways of creating income. But I really enjoy going on budget travel trips that just go away for the weekend, and I've just got to consider the environmental impact of that then when I am traveling. Which way do you enjoy traveling the most? Are you a sort of a weekend breaker? Are you a sort of 1 to 2 week holiday person, or do you like going for longer than that? Do you like going for like 3 weeks or longer? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'd really be interested. And what are sort of the good and bad sides of the amount of time that you like going away for? Like, what are your reasons behind it? I'd like to know that as well. I put out 2 informative travel videos every week, so make sure to subscribe and to ring the notification bell so that you get notified every time that I upload a new video. Also, every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. I do a live stream. Some of you may have come here to this video from the live stream, so hello if you were there. I hope you enjoyed the quiz, because I enjoyed making it. If you want to be more involved in the video making aspects of it, you want to catch up on travel news, we do travel quizzes sometimes, we just have a fun time. I think it's a fun time anyway. But if you want to be involved in that, come to the channel 6 p.m. Monday, Friday, and we can all have a laugh. If you've decided that you want to go traveling and you want to know where the long haul flights are for you, I'm going to put a video here that explains the differences between short and long haul. And if you're ready to go on a long haul flight but want to have a more comfortable flying situation, I'll put a video here which explains some tips and tricks to make your next economy flight the best one you've ever been on. But I hope you enjoy. I'll see you again. Enjoy your life. Ta-da! Oh my god, I just clicked my back again. All these videos are going to be like me at the end going, oh my god, my back.